Welcome back to my channel. Happy Halloween. You see I have my little my bat ears on because it's Halloween and this is like my favorite holiday, but I can't go nowhere. I can't do anything. So I figured we put a little something on just to get into the spirit since today is Halloween. So happy Halloween. All right, let's get to business. Did y'all watch Ready to Love last night? All right, season 3, episode 2, I think it's called Last Resort, right? So we're finally into it now. They're all at the place where they're all going to be staying together, the 20 contestants or whatever you want to call them. So it's 10 women and 10 men. This is where all the mingling starts and everybody's getting to know each other. So they have a bunch of beverages, there's champagne, there's some hors d'oeuvres, all types of stuff so everybody can get together, talk to each other, figure out who likes who. So, of course, there's always going to be some characters. Now, last week, I gave you my predictions of the participants and how they would fare. I must say, I am proud to announce that one of my predictions did come true, and it came true early. Well, one of them didn't, so we'll get to that a little bit later. But let's start with Denise. Now, Denise, if you remember, this is Denise. She's a track and field coach. Denise is one of those women who, and she said that she's hard on the outside, she's soft on the inside, but she has a lot of masculine energy. And I'm not even talking about her, the way she looks or the fact that she's athletic. There's just an energy with her. It seems a little combative on first encounter. And maybe it's just a defense mechanism that she has. Later on, she does say that she was in an abusive relationship or something to that effect. So maybe that's part of it. But women like that who give all of this energy, you have to then wonder, well, how come you're not meeting anybody? Because, I mean, let's just be real. This is 2020. You know, gender roles are almost a forgotten thing. But inherently speaking, you know, men are attracted to feminine women, feminine traits, characteristics, and women are attracted to masculine traits and characteristics. So when a woman portrays some masculine energy, that can be off-putting to men. Just an observation. Denise comes in and she just, again, starts with, I'm 5'10", I've got, my attitude is 5'10", my energy is 5'10", all these other words that she used.
Nice to meet you. I'm 5'10". That means my ego 5'10". That means my mouth is 5'10". My heart is 5'10". You gotta level up.
It wasn't a good start, I'll say. And I just think it's interesting that somebody who leads with so much strong masculine energy like Denise would then go and behave in something that's unbecoming at the very least. So she's having a conversation with Rashid, tall, light-skinned guy. He says something to the effect of like, how could you forget my name? I have a lot of persona or personality, or I'm not forgettable, or something to that effect. She says in her confessional that he was doing too much. She didn't like that. But that's kind of what you said when you first walked on the scene, that you've got this big personality and all this. So it's okay for you to say it, but you don't like it when you see it in somebody else? I don't know. And then you start to see some behavior. So I'm just going to be quiet now. And I'll let you take a look for yourself.
My name's Rashid. You don't spell my name now.
Rashid?
I'm very memorable.
Rashid came off kind of cocky. Like, that's not a good impression. Don't do that.
So I'll tell you when I'm wrong. I was wrong about David. That's David. I thought that he, in the first episode, I thought he was going to be one of the fan favorites. He's a musician. He seemed charming, even though he got a lot of kids. You know, he's grown, so his kids are probably out of the house. But he didn't do too well. And you could tell he turned off a lot. That 5 kids turned off a lot of women early in the game. And they heard him out, but it was more like, all right, let me go over here now because I'm not about this. The one person he did get energy from happens to be one of the youngest women on the show. And I don't know if that's coincidence, but he also goes on to say,
I like younger women. It's just like they accept me differently in my life.
So again, it's just, I always find it interesting when somebody doesn't gravitate towards people in their own age bracket, especially when that age bracket is younger than yours. You know, it was just interesting. David had a couple of conversations with Alicia. I can't remember somebody else's name. I saw at least 3 different individual conversations he had. And when he started talking about, you know, all of his children and being on the road and being a musician, you know, he was humble bragging, talking about he's toured with Genuine and Tank and all this other stuff. To a woman of a certain age, I could see how that might be a turnoff. So it's not surprising to me that he got the most rhythm from a young woman. And then he solidifies that by saying that he gets along better with young women. Now, David, is that because you could pull more shit on them? Is it because they're more naive or they're easier to get over on? And that's not a shade to young women. You're young. You are what you are. You are a product of your experiences. And being a young woman, you only have so many experiences. But beware of men like David who are attracted to a younger woman. It makes me feel that he may not be able to attract or maintain a woman of his own age. Another observation. Is it just me, or does Joy have crazy eyes?
Meet my mates.
Okay.
You know, building an empire. I don't want to do it by myself.
You know,
She doesn't blink. I don't know how long the average person can talk without blinking, but that makes me concerned. Is she hiding secrets and mysteries and spells and potions under all that hair? I don't know. Maybe it's Halloween and I'm feeling very ghoulish, but something about her seems a little crazy. She got crazy eyes. She does not blink. If you did not notice it, watch next week. Sam. Poor Sam. Sam was one of my predictions. And true to form, it did not pan out well for him. I don't want to stereotype artists because not all artists are like this, but when they said he was an artist and he does visual art or whatever it was they said, an antenna went off for me. I was like, he seems like one of those people who's kind of in his own head, thinks he's deep, you know, poo-poos on superficial or mainstream items because he's just on a different level. You know that guy. And he's kind of that guy, right? So it's not funny, but it is funny. The way he had conversations and he was leaving women there were a lot of people walking away from him. And it was funny when you could tell he's trying to hype himself up. He's just awkward. He's socially awkward. And he said something about his mom raising him to be a prince, therefore he believes he's a king. Cool, you know, raise your kids to have high self-esteem, but when you raise them, when you project so much of that on them that they don't know how to be one of the guys or one of the girls, did that just shake? Okay, that's problematic. Hence,
I'm 41.
Very thanks.
Very. Okay. I have this part about me where I can be a little cold and distant. I'm Louis.
but the funniest thing,
Do you see yourself continuing that in terms of the actual practical part? 'Cause I imagine you're actually cooking and being in the actual kitchen the entire time. I know that could be
Well,
find a similar issue where it's like the repetitiveness of doing those same motions, and it takes a toll over time.
Like, what's going on here? He just doesn't match my flop. And a lot of other women, they match my flop. right now, that's a bad spot to be in. Our flies here, his flies. Yeah. I'm gonna have to get some water because I've been drinking this Prosecco. Is that okay? Get some H2O in our bodies.
Right.
That right there, when a woman tells you that she has to go get a drink of water, you are boring the dog shit out of her. Just FYI. I know, because I've done it. I gotta go get some water. I gotta go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go sit down because my feet hurt. I need to go find my girlfriend. All of those, that means you're boring. I mean, I've even went so far as to say, I gotta go home and feed my cat, and I don't have a cat. Sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do to get away. And that's what they were doing to Sam. Chris, KG Smooth. You know, women aren't the only ones who say one thing and behave a different way, because he sat there and talked about his biological clock is ticking. He's ready to have kids. He doesn't want to just hit and smash. He wants to settle down. But then he shows up in this fuchsia suit with no shirt. And then they show other clips of him like showing off his abs and like doing the most. A, you're too old for that. B, if you want a relationship and you don't want that, you're not here for the hit it and quit it, then you don't present with hit it and quit it persona. That's what you did. Walking contradiction. Alicia. I like her. Something about her. She seems like she's cool as hell. She seems like she's a really down for whatever kind of friend. She looks like she's funny. She's pretty. But this is my issue with Alicia. And this is something that a lot of women tend to do. She said, let me get the statement right. I thought I had the exact quote, but I don't. So I'm going to paraphrase. But it was something along the lines of, men either just want to marry you or they want to have sex. Okay. All right. That might be true. But this montage right here.
They want to marry you or they want to have sex immediately. I'm like, damn, I like just want to have sex too, but can you approach me in a different manner?
You definitely wearing that dress, I tell you that.
Thank you. You like it?
Yes, okay. Word.
You like that? It's going to take a whole grown man to tame me. 6'5", big black chocolate, big old black stallion. We're going to look good together. I get the panties dropping immediately, okay? Let me tell you, big tank.
Hey, I saw it.
I'm sure.
But
You do
You can't say that men always want sex and they're all about sex, and then you keep leading with sex. Now fine, you show up in a tight dress, everybody's showing their assets. Okay, I get it. You want to show the goods. But the twisting and the twirling and hey, you like what you see in all of the comments and everything she said, there was so many innuendos or so many, that may reel them in, but that ain't going to keep them. So just FYI, not to her because I know she ain't listening, but to whomever else. If you don't want to be perceived in a sexual way, then maybe you just dial back the sexiness. And again, you could be sexy without having all your goods out, without, talking slick, talking fresh. There's lots of ways to be sexy. And I would even venture to say that men find women who do less even more sexy, because it's almost the kind of hidden, it's the, I wonder what's going on underneath there, or I wonder what she's like in the bedroom, whatever. There's a whole bunch of things that they're thinking, but you don't have to put it all on the street. And I was just a little surprised because she's a woman of a certain age, and it just seems like at this point she would probably know better. But we are wired. We are, we make mistakes along our ways, and sometimes, we just kind of go back to what's normal for us, even though we want different things. But like, I believe it was Einstein said, you can't keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. Oh, Symone. Symone was one of my favorites last week. I thought she was really cute. She seemed like she had real good energy. But Symone turned some fellas off. And I think first of all, she was asking everybody if they had a passport. I get it. You want to make sure the man could travel. But come on, let's be more creative with our questions here. And she seemed like she was drilling some of them. You know, she said a couple of things that obviously turned the men off. I think Symone is probably one of those women, kind of like Giselle Bryant from Real Housewives of Potomac, who I did say that she resembled. I think Symone is one of those women who leads with her pretty, and women who are really pretty feel that they can say whatever, however, and it's going to be received well or overlooked because they're pretty. And to their defense, that's how they've been groomed. I mean, if that's what keeps working and people keep responding to you positively, even though you're not saying the smartest things or the best things or the most thoughtful things or whatever, then, you know, you might get to a point where you don't feel the need to dig a little deeper, do a little better. You know, she's an attorney, so she's obviously book smart. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. Not all attorneys are brilliant. Just because you're an attorney doesn't mean that you are highly intelligent. You might be, but it doesn't mean that you necessarily are. So we know she passed the bar, right? We know she's smart enough for that. She's pretty. And I think she thinks that that's enough, but clearly her conversation wasn't matching this.
Pick like who I wasn't feeling. It probably would be
Sam turned a lot of women off with his, in his head, socially awkward thing. And it turns out that Symone turned some people off with her questioning or her ways or whatever. And then we get to the end and it comes down between Sam and David. And this is where I guess I was like really right and really wrong, because I thought David was going to be a fan favorite and I thought Sam was going to go home soon. And it turns out that Sam did go home because he just was awkward. And David was close to going home. So he's got to fix something. I don't know what he needs to do. Maybe he needs to stop talking about being in a band. Maybe he needs to not talk about his 5 kids, or be clear in saying that his 5 kids are grown and they're not coming around and asking for stuff. I don't know. You got to say something to make women feel like that's not going to be an issue. As far as the women are concerned, so it came down to Symone, who again, I'm wrong now because I thought last week that she would be one of the favorites. And I don't remember the other young lady's name, and I feel bad, and that's probably just to go show you like how, that's probably why she went home, because she just kind of didn't make an impression. Somebody she hooked up with was like, she's really cool, but she's like one of the homies, and he saw her like as a friend, not in a romantic way. I don't know that she did anything else to offend anybody, or if she had any other missteps. I don't know, but she went home. So that was the episode. I mean, some other things happened, but I just focused on a couple of the storylines that I found the most interesting. Next week, I'm assuming at this point they'll be moving into the house. We'll see them cohabitating, maybe eating breakfast together, and, you know, going through their day-to-day behavior. And from the preview, and I don't know if this preview that they showed was for next episode or just for the rest of the season, but, you know, it showed some fights coming up and people who thought they had something going on with somebody and that person liked somebody else, and, you know, all the good juicy drama, the stuff that we watch this show for. So this was good group of people. It's going to be interesting, and they got rid of some of the dead weight early. Ooh, I feel bad for even saying that. I don't want to say that, but I just did. So they got rid of some of the less interesting parties early on, and we've got some characters who are left. So let's see what happens next week. I would love to know what you thought about the episode. Did you think that they should have sent home those 2? Did you think other people should have went home? What are your opinions about the other folks? Who do you love? Who do you hate? Any predictions? Drop down in the comments and we can have a conversation about it. Again, do not forget to like and subscribe and have a happy Halloween. So I don't know if you're dressing up or if you're doing something, you know, we're trying to quarantine here, even though I know people are partying and everything, but I hope you find a way to enjoy your Halloween on some level, be it with your kids, some social distance, trick-or-treating or something, but enjoy it because it only comes around once a year and it is my favorite holiday. So that's all for this week. I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.